Hey, good morning. Ted here, biggoofyrunner. Welcome back to the channel. Another one of my videos for talking about my weight loss and my exercising and essentially how life is going, especially here, still working from home as part of the whole pandemic stuff. So yeah, let's get into it. I missed a video last week, I think. I'd have to double check here. My brain tells me that I missed one. I'm not sure. But anyway, last couple weeks, mostly been dealing with ergonomic issues. Issues with my right shoulder, issues with my right forearm and wrist. So I'm right-handed, so that's my mouse arm. And I was also having some issues with my right leg, especially my knee and that stuff. So I was blaming it on the running, the exercising, that kind of stuff. So I was taking a break from all that cardio stuff. The problem still kind of persisted. So I did some other changes. Essentially, I adjusted the way some of my desk was. Yeah, there's a whole chain of stuff. I mean, especially as you get older, the ergonomics gets to be a bit more important, and it's all kind of black magic juju sometimes, where you make a little tweak and you break something else way worse than you would have thought, and you don't even think the stuff is connected. I made the joke with somebody at work that, yeah, my right shoulder's hurting, I better check my big toe. It's kind of that kind of stuff almost. There is an interconnection, you can kind of see it all, but it takes time and you got to do small tweaks as you go along. So I had made a tweak to try and fix my right shoulder, and in the end I thought it was a small tweak, but in the end I ended up having like major issues with my right arm, through my forearm and my right wrist. So I had to do some additional changes there to kind of get that all back up, and that seems to be good, but that did impact some of my daily little weightlifting breaks and things like that, because my right shoulder and my arm, and I was doing a military press where I put some stuff above my head, and my right elbow rebelled. So 30 pounds in each arm above my head would be not good if my elbow decided to give out. So took a little bit of break there. That all seems to be back. That seems to be good. The tweaks I had done for my arm now seem to be solid. So that seems to be good. I'm happy about that. So it means the weightlifting's coming back again as well too. I only missed 1 or 2 days or a few different exercises. Not too bad a loss. It's not like I stopped completely. I just took a small short break. And I was still doing my daily chin-ups and stuff like that. So that streak is still going strong. I should have 1,000 days on that in December sometime. But other than that, dealing with my right knee and stuff like that, I realized that most likely what it was at least partially when I'm sitting in my one mesh chair, which is great for ergonomics, the mesh and the way it was supporting and things like that. But when I was doing a lot of typing, and this last couple weeks I've been doing a lot of typing, the ergonomics was basically the back was too far back from my back. So having to sit funny with my legs kind of splayed to make sure I stayed in that nice upright posture. Otherwise I'm leaning back, and it just wasn't great for that. So I did a couple 2-prong approach. I got basically an attachment I can put on the chair here, the mesh chair, to try and push me forward a little bit, which works not too bad. But I also went and got a specific task chair, less expensive, on like half price at Staples, that is comfortable, especially for a couple 3 hours, that kind of stuff. But it keeps me in a nice solid upright position that is great for typing. So it's kind of a weird thing where I'm going to be transitioning chairs throughout the day probably, but depending on what kind of functions I'm trying to do at any given time. And it's kind of a weird thing to have 2 different chairs, but task chair, it's right in the name, it's for specific tasks, that's what I'm doing. And ergonomically, it's helped considerably as well. I'm getting a lot less pains in my right knee. It's still kind of recovering a little bit. So that's kind of thing with the ergonomics and all that kind of stuff, is that especially when you get 50, it can be more than one thing. So the ergonomics were not helping basically my knee wasn't recovering, probably from some damage I had done. And I also switched up what shoes I was using on the treadmill, and I did try a different couple pairs of shoes on the treadmill, and they're better than what I was using. Still love the feel, but I think what was happening was the pair of shoes I was using on the treadmill where they plant a little more firmly, a little bit more focused on the ground where the weight is, so it doesn't distribute the weight as much as, say, some of the other shoes I've used. And I was occasionally getting a slight slip on the treadmill belt, and that I think that was kind of jerking the joints a little bit. And yeah, it didn't really matter how much I kind of tightened the belt. I would still get it with those particular shoes. I switched shoes, and I'm not getting that anymore. So that means, you know, when I was afraid that the belt might slip a little, I was running a little bit more tight, which doesn't help the joints, which makes you jar a little bit more every time your foot hits the ground. So not great, but with the wider distribution of weight on the other shoes, the slipping's not occurring. I'm relaxing a little bit more in the run, and things are just working better in the way they're supposed to. So yeah, still need to kind of get more running going there. I need to increase that. My weight is staying fairly static. Occasionally I get a little bump based on bad diet, but other than that, you know, it comes back down and I'm staying static. It's not where I want to be. I'm higher than my low from my starting with my weight loss in January. So I'm higher than my low, and I need to get that going. But the fact that my weight is essentially staying static means I've got the diet fairly dialed in. And once I get the cardio back, I should be losing weight again. So it's kind of a rough one to hit all those different things, and definitely very, very frustrating trying to figure out the ergonomic pieces, especially, you know, dealing with some anxiety and stress and things like that, and knowing I needed to type a lot. I had deadlines on getting reports out, a bunch of things like that, and typing was legitimately physically hurting. That did not help my mental stress at all, making it harder to start projects and things like that when I knew it was going to hurt, that kind of thing like that. So it's you know, all those ergonomic pieces work. I've got a bunch of reports caught up, got a bunch more to do, so I still have stress there, but I'm doing my best to deal with that stress. And I'm also trying to deal with, you know, stress and anxiety in general. But I think I'm in a better place than I have been, or had been even, say, a month ago. I'd have to look back and see just how well I managed to kind of keep that under control in the videos. I do try and, you know, when I'm stressed and that kind of stuff, I try and lay that out in the videos because I want to make sure that I'm mentioning part of my mental state as part of the training, because that is part of the whole deal. So it's all fairly interesting, different things, but I am dealing with the stress. Definitely in a better headspace right now. Wife Heather has you know, seen it too, that I do seem to be a little bit better spot, and that's helping with work stuff. It's helping with getting home projects done that I need to get done, and it's, you know, basically now that I've got the ergonomics done, it's starting to translate into getting the cardio back. So a bit more to do there, but it's a start, and that makes me fairly hopeful, which again helps with the anxiety and the stress there. So it's yeah, a little nice to get that kind of sorted out. Other things, we were in the pool. We've been getting a surprisingly warm fall. Basically, we did do a step change into fall yesterday. Just, you know, dropped 20 degrees Celsius kind of deal, or 15 degrees Celsius, and started to rain like crazy. So super cold. We basically went from one day having our air conditioning on to turning on our heat the next day. So just kind of the way the transition has occurred. But yeah, we were in the pool right up until, I think we were in Saturday. Yeah, we were in the pool Saturday. And then when we got out of the pool Saturday, we turned off the pool heater and letting it cool down, and we'll have to start to close it before it freezes. So that'll be in the next couple of weeks, a longer term forecast over the next week. We're not expecting freezing, but I mean, definitely not a hard freeze. And we have solar heating for our pool, so that needs to be drained, so we don't want those pipes freezing and basically wrecking it. So that'll be one of the things we need to do soon. But yeah, other than that, I mean, it's Canadian Thanksgiving this weekend. That's been great. So my downfall of pan buns, they're like crack to me, and my body treats them like pure sugar, but I love them. But luckily we got a bunch of leftover turkey, so high protein meals for the next couple days, which is awesome, and that works really well for me. So that'll be good. Wife and I's, let me do the math again, 16-year anniversary. I do have to do the math because we moved into our house in 2004, we got married in 2005, and I keep doing math back to 2004 for whatever reason, but 2005. We did some reorganizing around the house where basically the couch in the living room was getting kind of a little beat up, and always looked frumpy, and then so you go into the living room, you sit down to watch TV and everything, it was cozy, but it was just very frumpy feeling, and it was like, do we need to buy new couches and stuff like that for the living room as these things are starting to fall apart? And then what do we do with our really good older stuff that we have in the basement, in the rec room? And in the end, after we did a bunch of looking, we just realized, well, the stuff in the basement's still really good condition, and it feels it's still very comfortable and looks comfortable, but it's a slightly more formal feel. It doesn't look rumpled. So we did a couch swap. What was in the living room went to the rec room. What was in the rec room went up to the living room, and that's great. Having the big sectional in the basement is fantastic. It's nice and low, so it doesn't block your field of view, and makes the vision all nice and basically all nice and clean down here. And if it looks a little frumpy, that's part of rec room or rumpus room or whatever you want to call it, but all kind of nice, and basically saved us money for having to buy a new couch. So woo! What else? In the last couple of weeks we've rented out our DVC reservation for December. Unfortunately, it just did not look like there was any way that trip was going to happen in a nice way. We could have scrambled. I mean, both wife and I have AstraZeneca as our first shot and Moderna as our second shot, which is great. In Canada, we're considering that fully vaccinated, but that can be a problem when you travel, because lots of places are not recognizing the mixed shot. So we would have been able to go to a doctor and go, hey, we're traveling, get us, or can we get a second shot? And we could have got a prescription to get the second shot of Moderna, which would have covered us for being fully vaccinated. The kids are both double shot in Pfizer, so all good for them, but that would have been something we could have rushed and got done if we'd wanted to. But we just realized that the risks were so high. We just did not want to end up down there, contract it, knowing that with the vaccines and stuff like that, if we contracted it, and reduced risk of contracting it, but if we did contract it, it would probably be less concerning, but we could still spread it to others. So we would need to basically stay in Florida for an extra couple weeks while we waited for basically a clear vaccine test. But that would put us down there over Christmas, and trying to find a room, just basically that uncertainty and that risk of having to spend a crap load more money just to be down there because of the vaccine. It was just better. We're renting out our reservation. It went out in about 2 hours. We basically went back and forth with the company, and it was rented out so quickly, which is phenomenal. So that all worked out really well. It's not until December, so it's not finalized until then completely, but up until we're pretty solid right now, so that's good. And we'll see how things go in the spring with the kids' school, and when we might be able to take it, how the world is. Maybe we can do a beach vacation, maybe we'll go down to Florida for a week. We'll just have to play it by ear at that point, or we've given up another year of travel, which, considering we had to put a roof on the house this year, last fall we had to put in a new furnace, saving money is probably a good idea. But we'll see how it goes. I mean, we'll see how we survive to Canadian winters hold up in the house. At least the kids are getting out for school instead of being everybody at home all the time. So that's good. But yeah, I'm still working from home at least until January, and we'll see how things play out. The fourth wave with the Delta variant is hitting Manitoba, where we are pretty solidly, and the number of cases per day is on the increase here. Other areas have made it through the fourth wave across Canada, or seeming to, at least plateauing. But here we're on the rise, which the third wave hit us later too. So we'll see how it goes, and we'll just have to see how things play into December and January, and we'll go from there on. If I end up back in the office, like January or later, a little later in the year. But that's playing it by ear. Company's being safe, so that's awesome. And it's working pretty well for me working from home. I got my gear over here for work stuff. All my personal stuff here, some work stuff's there, so I'm able to separate it. When I initially started working from home, there wasn't a great separation. That was also not great for my mental capacity, because I'd be worrying about stuff I wasn't getting done or did not get done at work, and worried about those deadlines coming. And if I came to sit down on my personal computer, or wanted to record a video, I would be fighting with the desire to get that work done instead. And then basically the work was getting a lot of unpaid overtime from me. So this kind of separation really helps. So yeah, other than that, I mean, put some smart light bulbs in the lamp behind me and a couple different lamps around here, so I can just verbal commands when I walk in here in the morning to turn on lights. Is, feeling of power, kind of fun. But I can also play with the colors and stuff like that, so it makes shooting these videos kind of fun. But yeah, just different things to play with, keep your mind occupied, try and deal with anxiety and stress, things like that. And yeah, going not bad. Just need to get the cardio back. So anyway, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.